Hey, Changing Perspectives fans, we have some exciting news for you. Before you check out this new episode, go ahead and head on over to jennybrennan.com for some new and exciting things going on over there. Fresh new website, totally upgraded, looks really sharp over there. Don't forget, Jenny is a specialist in individual counseling, private practice coaching, clinical supervision. She is an LICSW. You can find all kinds of great stuff over there, including her blog, which our Changing Perspectives podcast was inspired by. And most importantly, you can check out a new section to buy Changing Perspectives merchandise. That's right, you can get Changing Perspectives podcast merchandise over at jennybrennan.com. Just click Visit the Shop on the resources page. Again, that's jennybrennan.com, so you can check out all the great merchandise. Now, without further ado, here's a fresh new episode of the Changing Perspectives podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Changing Perspectives podcast, the show where we discuss a variety of topics, including grief, parenting, health and wellness, and relationships. Join us and explore a number of changing perspectives. We're your hosts, Jenni and Josh Brennan. It makes me feel weird when you mouth the opening.
Sorry, I will stop. I stopped
It's
halfway
distracting.
through.
You did. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Josh.
Happy fall, everybody. We are back with everybody. We had a little bit of a delay.
Yep, we promised we would be back to every Monday
yeah.
and Thursday, and then life threw us a curveball.
Curveball.
Again.
Yeah. Swing and a miss on the curveball, I want to say. We had trouble with the curve, so it delayed us a little bit.
Yeah. So our renewed commitment is to try our very best
Yes.
to release on Monday and Thursday of every week. Sometimes we'll be able to make it happen, and sometimes we won't.
Yeah. But either way, we will try our best to be active on social media. I know you have been keeping the Changing Perspective social media, Instagram, jumping. It's been very
Yes.
active. So
Yes.
hopefully people are
and
enjoying
we have a
them.
lot. We have a lot of applications for guests on our show.
I was just going to say that.
We actually have to go through that. We're going to have a staff meeting tomorrow.
Yes, we are. We'll
yeah.
probably record tomorrow too, actually.
Yes, and figure some stuff out.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to say happy fall to everybody.
Oh.
Hope everybody had a great Labor Day last week and starting to enjoy the fall. Here in New England, we were dealing with some fall weather. Like I was at a high school football game the other night and I was freezing. I was wrapped up in a coat. And then today in youth football, I got a sunburn.
I knew I would get a sunburn too.
Legit got a sunburn.
Yeah, on one half of me.
Yeah, it's
one half looks like fall, one half looks like summer.
Yeah, it's September in New England for sure. So my voice might sound a little extra raspy or deep because I was busy screaming today.
I was too.
From the sidelines. You too. So I wanted to say and call out to our youth myths about youth football episode. I don't even know when that was. Months ago, but our boys started. Today was opening day, and it was awesome. Exciting, fun day. They both played amazing. I'm happy football's back. Are you happy football's back?
I am. I'm wondering, should this just be our youth football? Like our youth sports episode? I was going to say we could do that one next.
Oh.
Are we doing...
Do you want to?
Well, I don't know. What do you
I
want
wasn't
to do?
prepared for that.
All right, so let's do that one next.
Let's
but
do
not
it
today.
next.
So don't
Absolutely.
go too deep into that conversation.
Hey, that was a little teaser. So the next episode of Changing Perspectives will be all about youth sports.
Yes, as parents, from a
As
parent's
parents.
perspective.
Well, parent
Youth
slash
sports parenting.
Parent slash coach, because I'm a
Yes,
coach
yes.
as well,
I am
as
too.
we've discussed. You are?
Yeah, like I
Is that
yell
new?
ball when the ball
Or
falls.
pass.
Except today it was a fake pass, so I was like, "Don't pass! No, don't listen to me."
It's called a pump fake, Jenny.
It fakes me every time.
You're learning.
I got faked.
Oh, and I was going to say real football. My goodness. NFL starts today as well. College football's back. It's this family's most fun, favorite season. So it's very exciting that all the football has begun. Real quick shout out. People are going to our website because we have a lot of great applicants for guests. I just wanted to say, keep doing that. Like us, review us, give us a like or a rating on iTunes. Follow us on all the social media. share episode links so we can get more listeners and our great podcast can reach more people. So little shameless plug for our stuff. So Jenny, so we're not talking about sports parenting quite yet. So what are we talking about today?
I don't know.
Me neither, actually.
Kaizen.
Kaizen.
Yes. So
Is that how you pronounce it? Do you think?
I don't. I think I asked Siri.
I should know.
And she said that was how you pronounce it. So this has been sitting in our kind of list for maybe 6 or 7 months. Because I got an email from the Gottman Institute. I think they're daily. I feel like I get daily little emails from them. I get them on my work one, so they don't go to our Changing Podcast Gmail, so you don't see them.
I don't see them.
We should switch that so that you can read them.
Okay.
Let's take notes. Can you take notes? I feel like we don't do that.
Sure.
I'll take notes.
You take notes.
I need a pen and a paper. So I'm just going to make a lot of noise.
You're going to make a lot of noise. I have a pencil.
Perfect.
Do you want a pencil?
So I got an email from the Gottman Institute. So they send these little, and just to throw back, Gottman does a lot of the quizzes that we do on our relationship episodes.
Yeah, we talked about that in our last episode, actually. About half of our relationship episodes have been Gottman based.
Mm-hmm. Gottman, I want to say John, but I might be making that up. I might be confusing it with John Goodman. I think there's a cat meowing outside our door.
So I'll deal with that in a second. But real quick, I wanted to say I really like the Gottman card app.
No, stop. We're going to do that another day.
I know. I just wanted to say it's a Gottman. In ahead of a future relationship episode, the Gottman Institute has this app for your smartphone that's basically...
We're not going to get this episode done.
How would you describe it? How would you describe it?
I don't know because I forget.
It's like...
it's like we will talk about it on another episode.
Yeah. More to come on that. The Gottman card.
Stay focused.
Card app.
All right.
Go ahead. I can be focused.
Okay. You sure?
Card decks.
That's what I knew you weren't done.
It's called card decks. So, that's a future relationship topic. Go
Gottman,
ahead.
the Gottman Institute.
This was
Gottman
your fault.
believes
You said Gottman.
that he can predict whether or not a couple will stay together, sort of the strength of a couple's relationship based on just watching them for a few minutes. And then out of his sort of principles of healthy marriages, he's developed quizzes and questionnaires and activities for couples to do. So we do a lot of them in our other relationship episodes. They also have daily emails. So they have training institutes for professionals that work in the field. And then they have emails, and they're just quick little emails, like a paragraph, just like a quick little thought.
Yeah.
And so one that came across my email months and months ago was about instituting the Toyota way of Kaizen into your relationship. And it sort of has been something that has been coming back into my life over and over and over again. This notion of reevaluating your life on a more regular basis. I feel like people reevaluate their life, their work, their happiness, their relationships, their friendships, their health,
absolutely,
their future at a couple big points in the year. Typically New Year's, because that's sort of like New Year's resolution,
right?
Blah, blah. Also the fall. I think a lot of people, as kids go back to school, a lot of parents and non-parents find themselves sort of recommitting, sort of reevaluating their life. And then I think at big events like birthdays and maybe some holidays, but this notion of doing it all the time, I think is really important. And it's been kind of coming up and sort of rattling around in my brain. And so when things like that happen, I either need to write about them in a blog post or process them externally in a podcast. So I felt like it was time. And as I sort of approached the topic with you, you said that you are familiar with Kaizen.
Very familiar.
Your work. Very familiar. So tell me what your experience has been with Kaizen.
So Kaizen is... Well, let's talk about real quick. But I'm going to get an eye roll just so everybody knows. Or a sigh. There we go. Thank you for coming in on cue. So the history of Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese word. It actually means good change. The word Kai means change and Zen means good. And how it's interpreted or translated is change for the better. And you can check out a website, Kanbachi or Banshee.com. It's KANBANCHI. Are you our notes lady? You want to write that down?
I'm bad at being notes lady. What was that again for people who weren't paying attention?
BANCHI.com. Kanbanchi / what is Kaizen. Gives you a little bit of a history. So basically, in English, Kaizen is typically applied to measures for implementing continuous improvement. It began after World War II.
Oh my gosh, we don't need a history lesson.
Toyota first implemented quality circles in its production process. So Kaizen was first used in manufacturing, really. But it's applied in many professional situations.
Well, can I stop you on the manufacturing?
Mm-hmm.
So the Toyota way is what they did. My understanding is that, and there's also a New York Times article where someone wrote about applying the Kaizen method to their relationship. So I will link that article.
Lots of show notes today.
In the show notes.
Yeah.
So the Toyota company encouraged all of their employees, those even those working sort of on the line in the sort of plants, that if you see something that seems like it could be working better, to stop everything immediately and let's fix it. Don't like write down a suggestion and put it in a suggestion box and wait 6 months for like middle management to look at it and bump it up the chain and then do like a work group meeting to see, what kind of changes. Let's stop it immediately, talk about it and fix it. And so that's how it was sort of applied. That's why it's sort of called the Toyota way. And I don't remember the exact stats, but it seems like it has worked for Toyota.
Yeah, and it works all the time in my job, in my professional experience. You basically you run and have what's called a Kaizen event. And that is a short duration improvement project with a specific aim at identifying waste and focusing on improvement and not focusing a lot on what happened and the wrongs, but also just...
So not the why, but the this isn't working.
Right.
What can we do different?
What can we do? And you perform like a waste walk, and you walk through and identify specific things that might be wasteful. Some of the types of waste.
Like this bit of information.
That's enough. Mm-hmm. Some of the waste is very specific to manufacturing, but you can apply it in lots of different situations. You can learn more on this. This is another website for everybody: leanmanufacturingtools.org. But I work in healthcare, as everybody knows, and I work in heavily regulated healthcare as well. And so you have lots of different outside factors affecting your flow, your workflow, your process. And so it's very helpful to run a Kaizen event. And you can use a bunch of different quality tools. I'm making lots of noise. I'm sorry, I bumped the computer.
But having a Kaizen event seems anti-Kaizen, because Kaizen is about not having an event, but this being a continuous process all the time. And I'm thinking about it sort of in terms of my position as a professor, an instructor, and also a clinician. The notion of therapy is that every session I am continuously evaluating. Does this client still need to be here? Is this client progressing towards their goals? Are we doing something in session to help them progress towards their goals?
Right.
So it's not just something that I do every 3 months when I sort of, update things with insurance companies and say, yep, they're still benefiting from therapy and still want to come. It's sort of every single day that's happening. Same with teaching. Every single class, every single class session, every single lesson plan, you then evaluate. So it's interesting that you have Kaizen events.
Well, it's part of a comprehensive quality program.
I see. Can we sort of, I feel like we zoomed way in. Can we now sort of talk about applying that principle to relationships?
Right. That's okay. I think we did a nice job explaining the history of Kaizen, how it's used now in manufacturing and other fields like healthcare. And now let's see how we can apply it to relationships. And here's where I am no longer an expert.
Well, I'm not an expert either. We're just winging this episode. We're having a conversation about sort of this notion of continuous change, continuous evaluation, and then enacting immediate change. And so the woman who wrote the article, the New York Times article that I'm going to link in the show notes, talked about how her and her spouse for a certain period of time collected a whole bunch of data about their relationship and really about their lives, like how often they slept, how many hours a night they slept, what they were eating, how often they were exercising, how often they were traveling, how often they were vacuuming and dusting and sweeping and all that stuff. So really labor intensive data tracking, like Excel documents.
Is this from this year, May? I just pulled up an article.
Is it by Rachel somebody?
No, it's by Amy something.
Like, I could be wrong. What's it
There's
called?
Surprising benefits of relentlessly auditing your life.
Yeah. Is it from the New York Times?
Yeah.
Does it talk about Kaizen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably is it.
Alrighty. The Toyota way.
Sorry,
there it
Amy.
is. Yes.
I thought you were Rachel. I don't know why.
Her last name is Westervelt. That's
Also
a cool name.
Not Rachel.
Oh, she's a podcaster, it says.
Oh, great. Let's focus.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So you see, when you go off track, then my brain stops working and I don't know what I was saying.
The surprising benefits of relentlessly auditing your life.
Right. So she and her spouse, I think mostly she, because she was the Excel dork like I am, tracked everything on Excel and then looked for patterns. And so they would find that, if we don't get enough sleep, they were tracking arguments too. If we don't get enough sleep, if my husband sleeps less than 4 hours a night, or I sleep less than 6 hours a night, we have more fights that week.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So they tracked everything and then looked for patterns. Now, I don't have time to track everything right now. And it was a commitment they decided to make time for this. And they've gone back and done it over again because things constantly change. But I thought people can kind of do this without actually getting into the nitty gritty and actually tracking things on an Excel document, but really kind of hitting pause and evaluating how things are going. And I feel like I kind of did this the other day on the way to work. Do you know what I did? Do you know? You said, like you knew.
No. Can I pause you for a second? I think that I just want to read a quote from our article, and it says, in the case of Toyota, the goal was higher quality and increased profits. When we translated the idea to our home life, the goal was a little simpler, but also a lot more complicated. Happiness. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel a little like I didn't prepare enough, and I didn't read this article ahead of time, but I'm kind of skimming it now, and it's really good.
Okay. To be fair, I did email it to you when I first thought of it, and I retexted it to you like a week and a half ago. So
the article?
You're getting a 0 on your homework.
I have failed. Okay.
That's okay. You've been a little
What was
busy.
your story?
So it wasn't a story, but I was feeling like I've been thinking about our relationship and our sort of business where we run a household, because I really do think that when you're married or when you're partnered and you're living together, and especially when you're raising children or pets or working together around some sort of common goal like that, essentially you're running a business. And I do think you should apply some business principles like
multiple common
staff
goals,
meetings.
Right? We have multiple things always up in the air. I mean, we have a professional relationship with this podcast as well. Right.
And we own pets and and I think
we don't own pets.
Right. I'm so sorry. We are run by pets.
Spoiler alert, there will be a pet rescue episode coming in the future.
Yes. How's that blog article going?
Oh, that's enough. Continue.
So I think actually what really pushed me into having this specific thought process was that last week I was sitting at the football field because, as I've said in practice field in previous episodes, when the weather is nice, when it's this sort of hybrid between summer and fall, if I can get to a football practice and it's nice out, I love going and sitting there. Yeah. It is sort of Zen-like for me. Partially it's because you, Josh, you have your attention focused on just one child because you're coaching one team. So I feel like someone has to be sort of focused on the other child too, but I'm really watching both. And I'm sorry, I kind of have the hiccups.
That's okay.
And allergies. It's sort of my Zen because I can sit there and I can't really do work. I sit there for an hour and a half to 2 hours and I just watch my kids do their best and do something that they love, and I get to soak up some sunshine. So I was sitting there the other night and realized, for some reason, it just popped into my brain. Oh, it was like September 4th or something. I realized, oh crap, I did not renew the dogs' licenses. For the town, and I've never forgotten before. And they give you from like July 1st to August 31st of every year, and I realized I didn't do it, and it costs like $7 a dog. So $5.
Is it really that cheap?
Because we have spayed females. So 3 of them. Oh, no. Well, spayed or neutered.
Spayed or neutered, right.
So it's $15. And if you
I won't tell Everett you called him a spayed female.
And if you didn't register them on time, like by September 4th, it was $25 per dog late fee. So we're talking about a
$20 a piece.
25.
No, but the difference of 20 a piece if that's $5.
No, so it'd be 30. 25 on top of the 5. It was a $25 late fee.
Oh.
So we're talking about it being 90
versus 15.
90 versus 15. And I thought, well, one, I was mad at myself for forgetting because it's always been something that I do. Two, I was wondering how did this happen? And I realized it's because the summer has been really difficult and our systems for stuff like that haven't really worked. And the reminder postcard is sitting here on my desk because when we moved into the studio, I was like, I'm going to totally remember everything that's here in this pile. But guess what? The pile's still there.
Yeah.
So I was very nice and I emailed the town person and they're like, you can do it if you get here by 7:30. And I didn't want to leave the field. And come home and upset the dogs and find the tags or anything. Anyway, she was very, very lovely and said if I could get up to the drop box, that would be fine. And so I did.
Before the next business
day. So we didn't have to pay the late fee. But it left me feeling like, okay, this system is not working for us because we are forgetting things. And the week before, we had found some voicemails on your phone, Josh, about phone calls that you didn't realize you got.
Yeah.
Because you know, one of the wonderful things about iPhones is that you can read your voicemails. And sometimes you read them and think, not you specifically, you read them and think like, oh, I'm quickly reading them, whatever, it's fine. That's a junk message or something. And they weren't. And so clearly,
and I think this was not an excuse. I should have followed up. It's my miss. But if anybody, I don't know if it's specific to our cell carrier, but when you first get that voicemail, it takes a minute to translate to text, to scribe it. And so when you first click on it, when you first, but usually I'm like a football practice or in the middle of something at work, and it's like I first open it and it says unable to read message,
and then it's not marked
and then
new anymore?
No, it's marked new still, and then I forget to go into it a couple of days later, and it's like, oh, it's a mess.
Yeah.
But so I need to do a better job at that. But
for our shared tasks, I realized we need to do better because it's not just my responsibility to register the dogs, and it's not just your responsibility to like field whatever phone calls we have to do, like, you know, renewing our lease for our car or anything like that. So what our system clearly wasn't working. So I was thinking about this while driving to work the other day and thinking about the fact that our system is like one of us calls the other or texts the other or emails the other and asks them to do some sort of shared task, and then we forget it. Yeah. It just sort of falls by the wayside. It gets lost in all of the other texts and emails we send to each other. And so it wasn't working. So then I signed up for that app that I sent you to. And remember I sent you the link to it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, guess what? We're heading into allergy season where when I talk a lot, I'm going to have a coughing fit. Like when I teach, so
you're
going to talk for a minute.
Are we going to talk about Asana?
Yes.
Yeah. So the app is, again, something I used at work too for a little bit. We switched to something else, but so Asana, it's also a website. The website is great too. I think there's a desktop app version, I want to say as well. I could be wrong. But it's Asana. And basically it's a task and project tracker.
Yeah. And I thought, okay, maybe this is something
again, something to add to the show notes.
Maybe this is something we could apply to our relationship. And I think it's working well so far.
Yeah, no, it really is. It helped the other day. In fact, I have something that was due yesterday. I got to follow up.
Oh, you put due dates on it?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, you can put due dates.
I know,
it's helpful to me because you get extra
reminders,
notifications.
I didn't want to put due dates on it for you. Anyway, so it's this app where you can put in tasks. So like, I think I put in a category for tasks for the boys. Like we have birthdays coming up and things that they need. Yeah. Equipment and items and things like that. And then we need sort of household projects and projects for the pets. So I broke it up into different categories and then assigned us each tasks so that we can see when the other person has done it, which means I no longer have to say to Josh, did you make that phone call? Did you make that phone call? Did you make that phone call? Because
Asana
I can
does
see
it for you.
and I can see if it's not checked, he hasn't made the phone call.
Yeah.
And I can see that he sees it too. And so I wonder how else we can do that in other areas in our relationship and how other people can do that in other areas of their relationship. Sort of applying this Kaizen, this sort of notion
continuous improvement.
Like, let's stop and really kind of figure out what's not working, not look at the why, but what's not working and what can we do to fix it and make it work better, increase productivity, increase happiness.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that we should take a break.
Oh.
Is that okay?
I guess so.
We'll talk about what the next steps are.
Okay.
For Kaizen and applying them to your relationship after this message. We'll be right back. Are you looking to level up in life with your health, mindset, and personal mission statement? Are you a coach of a sports team or leader of an organization looking to build critical leadership skills for your team? If so, then look no further than GetBurly.com. The Get Burly brand offers life coaching, personal fitness programming, and team building retreats, clinics, and seminars, all designed to empower individuals and teams to become the best versions of themselves. The Get Burly Team Building and Leadership Development Division works specifically with athletic teams, corporate groups, and educational institutions. Through their signature seminars, workshops, and/or retreats, Get Burly will have your team firing on all cylinders and working as an inspired, cohesive unit, committed to the mission and vision of your program or organization. Get Burly will build the inner strength necessary for you and your team to gain clarity around your mission, input strategies to enhance mindfulness, amplify personal accountability and ownership, and much, much more. Do yourself and your team a favor and visit GetBurly.com. Get Burly. Be the best version of you. All right, we are back. Jenny, I wanted to shout out the article by Amy here in the New York Times. It looks like they also did a chore splitting app, similar, or they're using an app that helps with tasks and whatnot, just like Asana. It's still different, but she has a link to the app in the article.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is the app?
It's from Mashable. It's just the link takes me to a blog article on Mashable.
Okay, all right. It wasn't quick.
Yeah.
You can learn more by clicking on that link.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, I think it's called Labor of Love.
Oh,
that's interesting. All
cute.
Right. So check that out, everybody.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Because if it's chore specific, we could get the boys on there.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
That's interesting. Okay. That's not even a word. Okay. So what are your thoughts? Because you cut me off.
I apologize. So you're looking for sort of the next step, I think. So we have this first step with utilizing this Asana app, which is super helpful and will help us. I feel
like it's a first step. I feel like it's an example.
An example. Well, yeah. I mean, I think continuous improvement. I'm going to take a step back. Doing this podcast together and being involved with all these different quizzes and these relationship episodes that, force us to talk about these things, I think that's Kaizen. That's what I think is continuous improvement. I think that going back to your point earlier about sort of running a business as a family, the Asana app is helping to organize us, and that is happiness, right? When you feel like I am taking care of the things that are assigned to me, and I feel like you're taking care of the things that are assigned to you, that's just good stuff. That's positivity. That's happiness. That feels like each other is taking care of the other one.
Does it? I mean, we're going back to like love languages, and for sure, those things are acts of service to me. Which I think the last time we took it, I feel like it wasn't actually my highest acts of service. I might have to look. I don't remember.
Jinx.
But yes, acts of service definitely are interpreted by me as love. But are they so much by you? Like if I
no, absolutely.
The fact that I registered the dogs, was that like, oh, Jenny really loves us?
Well, I thanked you. Remember, I was like, thank you for caring so much about this, because I was like, whatever, $75, because I I didn't think outside the box, and I wasn't like, well, it's closed now, or you didn't. The option was you were going to leave practice, and the next day you weren't going to be able to come to practice, so you would have missed watching the boys. And I was like, just screw it. Let's just. Hi, Norma Jean.
Norma Jean.
I said, let's screw it. Let's just pay the $75. Who cares? And you were like, well, it's crazy that it's so much more expensive with the late fee. So I got to figure out a plan. And you did. You thought outside the box. You emailed the town, and you got it taken care of. And I was super appreciative of that. Even though the actual act you did wasn't that important to me. Like, I don't care. This is why I'm so thankful that we're together, because I would have it would have been November, and I would be like, oh, did we register the dogs? But the fact that you care so much to get that taken care of for our family was huge. And I will tell you one more thing. When we came home from football today, I walked down the hallway to do something I forget or change out of my coaching gear, and noticed that the bed was so beautifully made, and our room was like tidy.
Doesn't that feel nice?
It does.
You never think that's important.
No, it's super important.
I think it drives all three of you crazy that when we're trying to get out of the house, this is a system that we have to work on.
Yeah.
I feel like it's we have a relaxing morning. Everything is great. Let's have fun. We have to get going. Now we're running late.
Right.
We don't give ourselves enough time.
Right. You got to start earlier.
Yeah. And I always say we're not leaving until beds are made.
Right.
Our room is clean and dishes are done. Because I do not like coming home. It's not that I don't like. No, it is. I don't like coming home to a messy house, but also
makes you feel discombobulated.
It feels amazing, because I had the same thought when I walked into our bedroom and opened the door. I was like, oh, it's nice in here. We have a full basket of laundry
to put away.
Of laundry to put away, and we really have to vacuum the rug, because I think a dog had a chew toy on our rug, and I dropped blush on the rug. But and so it's not perfectly clean,
whatever.
But it does make a difference. So thank you for noticing that.
No, and that is important. I mean, again, the actual, like, I'm gonna be stereotypical here. I'm a guy. If I was single, I would never make my bed.
This is a real worry for me. Like, if anything ever happens to me, which hopefully won't, then I worry about, like, what would the three of you do without me?
I'm gonna take some money and hire a maid.
That's smart.
The maid can make my bed.
Yes. Okay.
But it does make me feel good.
Hire a maid now?
Let's do it.
Seriously, we have a couple friends that do that a couple times a month.
Yeah,
which actually might be something we should really think about. A couple times a month. Yeah, we've gone over this for like 10 years. Someone to just come in a couple times a month and deep clean everything, so we know that the deep cleaning is done.
Yeah, I agree.
That might be something worthwhile.
I have the
name of someone, because someone is a few people are doing it
really?
right now. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is it the ones that live down the street that have the cutest little 5-year-old ever? 3-year-old?
Yeah. Do they have the same one? I don't know if they have the same one or not. I think they do. I think it is the same one.
Riveting radio.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. But my point is, the actual act of making the bed, not so important to me, but the fact that you did it was huge, because it does feel good. And I was really appreciative.
So how does this tie into Kaizen?
You said is acts of service important to you?
Oh, gotcha.
Because I said doing the Asana app and splitting these tasks up and tracking our progress and our due dates and everything, is that Kaizen for our relationship, not just our family? And I think it is. So
I guess when we're thinking about applying Kaizen to relationships, really, we're talking about couples sitting down like this, you and I, across the table from each other, and saying, what's not working right now? What would be better? What would make us feel better? And so it sounds like some of the things that make us feel better are coming home to a bed made, making sure that things get done, making sure that if we ask our partner to do something, that they have a way to remember to do it. So what are what are some ways that couples can kind of build this into their life? Because you're right, we're sort of lucky in that we're doing this podcast, and so we have to sit down at least once a week,
but hopefully twice.
Right. And stare at each other across a desk and kind of connect.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that, although we're not really connecting when you're on your laptop while looking at me.
Don't pull down the fourth wall. I'm always pulling up stuff and looking at stuff and checking levels. What are some ways? So, I mean, we are lucky that we have this format, but again, not everybody does. I mean, we talk a lot about staff meetings.
You and I.
Yeah. We talked about that in previous episodes where we use a little bit of the date night time to talk about those sort of housekeeping items for our family and our relationship. And I think that people should build that time in together. I mean, hopefully everybody, most couples have
like a Kaizen corner.
Yeah. Hashtag. TM, Changing Perspectives 2019. Kaizen corner. I like that. And, to talk about what's important, what's bothering you, what's not working. Yeah. I mean, and maybe you can use some sort of other resource to help frame the conversation. So you just sort of, like, instead of having a blank piece of paper, maybe what's a template, like a Kaizen relationship template? Maybe you should make one and sell it.
Kaizen corner. Well, I was thinking, a commitment of spending like 10 minutes a week where you and your partner sit down and you talk about, sort of this Kaizen corner. Kaizen, can't think of another thing, but where you just apply it to one area of your life. Like what's working well for us right now in household chores? What's not working so well? What's working? That would be like 1 10-minute conversation. And then you figure stuff out from there. What's working well for us in, or not working well for us in sort of our like emotional connection. Although the notion of Kaizen, see, I'm externally processing right now. The notion of Kaizen is doing that all the time so that I guess once you have an initial conversation with your partner about it, really there should be an open door around it.
Right.
So that when you're having an argument, when you're doing the laundry together, when you're having some sort of exchange, you can say, stop, let's Kaizen this. This is not working. How can we make this get better? Right. Rather than letting it kind of build up, and rather than waiting for there to be a moment to have the Kaizen corner. So I guess my suggestion would be to have a groundwork discussion with your partner and figure out how can you, in particular, you as a couple, fold in some of these Kaizen concepts into your relationship rather than waiting for fall to roll around again or New Year's to come or a birthday or an anniversary or something big to fall apart. Yeah. How can you kind of infuse this notion of continuous improvement into all aspects of your relationship?
Well, I wonder too if there's, there's a way to apply some of the things that, some of the ways that people in organizations use Kaizen, and how they evaluate a process, and to just use that in your relationship. Like the notion of value stream mapping.
Oh God, is that what you just Googled?
No.
Let me see your computer.
See?
Does that say that says value stream mapping?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I can't read that far.
No, value stream mapping is a quality tool that I use regularly at work. And it has to, value stream mapping is a Kaizen event. It's a tool you use to evaluate a process.
I think that we should Kaizen, let's Kaizen this episode right now.
Kaizen this episode.
Yes. Okay. Let's practice this, because I am feeling like in this moment, what's not working for me is that you're not looking at me. Okay. You are looking at your computer. So I feel like I'm not engaging with you, and that makes me feel like I'm trailing off, and that's really hard for me. Okay. I'm not quite sure what you need to be looking up, because I thought we were just having a conversation together. You're still doing it. And I feel like you're getting into the weeds and teaching about Kaizen and not talking about how to apply Kaizen to a relationship. So I feel like
I don't know
We
how to
came at
apply
this,
Kaizen to a relationship.
But that's what I wanted to sort of talk through.
Okay.
It wasn't about what Kaizen is. It's about
I know.
how can we apply this. So let's apply it right now.
Okay.
This episode seems to not be working for me.
Okay.
Is it working for you?
Sort of.
How?
Well, it was until right now. So I don't know how to apply Kaizen to a relationship.
So what are you Googling?
Well, I was looking up the types of wastes when you do a waste walk.
I feel like that's getting into the weeds.
No, I mean, I think that you could. I mean, so I think you have to first establish what you want to Kaizen in your relationship, right? What you want to look at.
Is that everything is open to improvement.
Right, but don't you have to pick a topic to start with or to discuss, or?
I don't think so. I think it's when Toyota applied it, it wasn't like, hey, only apply this to the wigwams and Whizzleworks. I don't know. What's that quote from Friends?
That was the best thing you've ever said on this podcast. One of them Zipzorps. I know that. Yeah.
They weren't saying, only apply it to the steering wheel and the radio. They were saying when you encounter any problems, anything that you think could be functioning better or more productively, stop everything and let's figure out a better way.
Okay. So I was assuming that you had to pick like a topic or some sort of element of your relationship or
think you could.
Couple in your couple that you want to review or look at.
I think you could.
Okay.
I think that's one way.
Okay.
It's to sort of like have a Kaizen moment or a Kaizen corner and say, right now, let's talk about our relationship piece. But the notion of Kaizen is that it's this continuous improvement. It's not just waiting for a Monday staff meeting or waiting for things to fall apart, but it's being able to say, time out. This doesn't seem to be working right now.
Right.
Kind of like what I just did.
Okay. I like that. No, that makes sense. I think for me, looking at...
Oh, it's not the teenager. Usually it's the teenager that interrupts us. Oh, he's telling you to calm down. He's turning into a teenager. Come on in, Jacob. We're talking about Kaizen. That is a method of continuous change. It means good change in Japanese.
Yeah.
It means stopping things when they're not working and saying, hey, this isn't working for me. What can we do better? So, hey, this isn't working for me that you've come in here and interrupted us.
Yeah.
What can we help you with? Knowing that we're recording, is there something we can help you with? You just missed us?
I'm gonna take my shower.
You're going to take your shower.
Excellent.
That's good. So that is a great thing.
Post-football shower.
You
Excellent.
also got a sunburn today on your nose.
My nose?
Yeah, like right here on your nose. So next week, when we go to football, we will actually apply the sunblock that I had in my bag.
Oh, you had sunblock in your bag?
Mm-hmm. I had spray and lotion.
Okay.
So we're Kaizening football.
Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt.
No, it's
just red.
Kind of cute.
A little red.
You look cute with a little. You have a sun-kissed face. Don't punch it. Don't hit it. There's towels in there. Bye-bye.
It doesn't hurt though.
Okay, bye. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Lots of quotes today in this episode.
My snack in it, yeah.
So I think I'm a little lost on the topic or idea of continuous improvement without an actual format or template.
So maybe in some relationships it needs to be more structured.
Yeah.
Maybe like the author of the article needed an Excel document. So first they tracked data and figured out data-wise what wasn't working.
But even in the article, she talks about like a specific thing that they wanted to change. There was one, the husband wanted to incorporate his exercise with his commute. So he talked about part of his commute he was going to do on his bike.
Well, I thought that came about because they recognized that in their data tracking, he was happier when he was working out more. But there wasn't a lot of time for him to work out. So that wasn't his need wasn't to combine exercise with his commute.
I see.
That was what they came up with as a solution to the notion that I need to exercise more so that I can be happier, because in our data tracking, I'm happier when I exercise more. So how can I incorporate it?
Right.
How can we solve that problem?
Yeah, so she writes in here, quote, "The project led to a major life change. Our spreadsheets hammered home that what contributed most to our happiness was time spent together or with friends. Well, all right, it goes on there. But the point was that they had to figure out how they could make that work. The fact that he was going to significantly change the commute for his commute. So they had to focus on that, that event or that change. And so I think for me, looking at Kaizen, the topic or the theory of Kaizen is continuous improvement. But I think maybe in order for it to work, you have to focus on one event with structure and talk about how you can change that.
So I think what I'm learning about you is that you have a harder time existing in sort of a nebulous space.
Yes.
A boundaryless space.
Okay.
Like let's turn the microphones on and just sort of talk about this topic.
No, I mean,
you need I need to work off of an article. I need to sort of have a specific I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that like you seem,
I mean, yeah. All right, don't get me
to
wrong.
be more comfortable with that rather than I was saying, here's a topic. Let's sort of talk about it and dissect it. Like, you sort of explore it without a lot of specific parameters, but you, I think, are a little bit lost without. I'm not meaning to say this in a negative way. I didn't realize that about you, and so
I mean,
let's Kaizen this. Now I know coming to future podcast episodes, like the next one we were going to do, which was youth sports parenting, which I don't have anything prepared. I was just going to talk about it, and now I'm realizing that you probably won't be able to do that.
Prepare a little bit. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like just flipping on the microphones. And what did you say last time? Putting him in record mode.
Sounds like something I would say.
And I like just chatting. I love that. Some of my favorite podcasts are just that. Some of my favorite radio shows are just that.
So I guess I assumed that's.
But I like a little bit of structure.
Okay.
Right.
All right,
like some bullet points or a couple of articles to reference or whatever.
Okay.
And so I feel a little bit like I have no safety net or I don't know.
Okay. So look what just happened really kind of naturally is that we just Kaizened the podcast because we could have waited, right? We could have kept the microphones in record mode. Is that not what you could have kept them on?
Just
what are you supposed to? Okay.
Or mics are on. Mics are hot.
We could have kept the microphones.
Isn't that I don't know. Mics are hot.
We could have kept the microphones in record mode and just finished the show, like plowed through. I could have not stopped you. We could have not had this conversation. And yes, or I could have said like, can we just shut this off? It's not working. And we could have shut off the microphones, talked it through, come back tomorrow and finish the episode. But we Kaizened it.
Yeah.
Right. And said, this isn't working. We talked about it. And I think we've come up with a way to sort of have things be a little more comfortable for you moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, I think that for me, that just feels a little better, having a little bit of structure.
So then for our relationship, to apply Kaizen to our relationship, you would need there to be structure. So you would need there to be like, let's Kaizen our chores.
Which I think is why I'm so excited about using Asana.
Okay. I'm excited to look at this labor of love, if that's a chore thing, because that is something in our family that does not work.
Yeah.
Like we struggle with chores.
No, we have to remind them
feed the dogs. Who's going to So that is okay. So you would need to Kaizen our chores, Kaizen our.
But I think
romantic relationship.
Yeah. But I think you could use a tool like value stream mapping specifically for something that's between something that is not working. So let's say I don't know. Let's say it's the stuff we talked about before. We said, okay, these the voicemails that you had.
No, let's talk about the Mickey bathroom.
Okay. All right. So you mean like the orderliness of it?
I feel like that's a problem in our life right now. So the Mickey bathroom is our extra bathroom, which...
Oh, yeah. People don't know what that is.
The lady who had the house before us put on a lovely addition and made the second bathroom, half the size of the addition. I don't understand why. It has a stand-up shower, but no tub, so we don't use it. And
I use it a little bit.
A little bit. Not... Maybe just during the summer, not a lot. Maybe once a month.
Yeah, the shower doesn't get used a lot.
Shower doesn't get used a lot. That's where our washer and dryer are. There's a sink and a toilet, and then tons of open space. And so that is kind of our, like a mud room, essentially. And so during football season, it's where pads get stored and cleats, and it's where, you know, clothes get hung to dry. And so it's also where our storage is, like extra toilet paper, extra paper towels, extra towels, all that stuff. Quite often, it looks like a bomb burst in there. Part of the reason
right now it does, actually.
That now our teenager has his room off of there, and even though I don't like it, he's using the second entrance to that bathroom, which is now messing with the system we've had. So can we use this? And it's decorated with Disney stuff, so we call it the Mickey bathroom. So can we use that specific example?
Yeah.
Okay, instead of the voicemails?
Yeah. So, I mean, my idea was to apply that quality tool, which is, and you can apply any type of tool or sort of process to evaluate something that's maybe not working. But a value stream mapping is a Kaizen event. It's an event to identify what's not working with the goal of improvement. And so the first step in value stream mapping, now I am not certified in this. There's people that go to certifications and do online courses to be certified as, I think it's
value stream mapper?
It's through Six Sigma. What did you say?
Value stream mapper?
I don't think they're called that.
Oh, that should be.
I think it's Lean Six Sigma. That's the
value stream mapper would be better.
Anyway, so you lay out the current process from start to finish, right? And then you look at that and go, okay, where can we identify waste within this process? So the types of waste, there's 8 different types of waste. And again, I mentioned these earlier.
We're getting into the weeds. Is this important?
Yeah.
Okay,
dude,
right.
Let me get there.
Okay. Get there faster. The Patriots are on.
I know. And so again, this ties into the Toyota production system. This is a Toyota thing. This is the Kaizen event. And it has a lot to do with manufacturing, but, the types of waste are defects, overproduction, waiting, unused talent, extra processing, motion, inventory, and transportation. You can find that information on theleanway.net, theleanway.net. Anyway, and so you go out, you walk through the process you've outlined, and you can do it on a dry erase board or piece of paper, whatever, and identify along the process moments of where there might be waste, right? And so for us, there might be, motion or waiting or whatever, unused, not talent, but maybe unused space or something in the way we are using our Mickey bathroom and what we're using it for and the tasks that need to get done that are in there, like laundry or whatever. That's where we feed, that's where our dog food is. And so we bring dog dishes in there and feed the dogs in there. Maybe that's not working or something. So you look at what the current state is, and you identify what's not working within that and say, okay, how do we create a new state or a future state of how we want this to be by eliminating these wastes or changing these things?
So walk me through how I would apply this.
I don't know
be a value stream mapper, because here's how I identify it. It's a mess, and I want it to be not a mess.
Yeah, but I think,
and be able to stay not a mess.
Well, I think you have to take a step back and go, okay, what's a mess specifically? Is it this shelf that we have the towels on?
No, actually, I try to keep that very clean.
Okay.
It's
so
the,
then that's
the
not
two
the waste.
drying racks
the
that
two
are next to the
racks,
second door, because they get pushed out of the way. And there's maybe you have 75 running pairs of shoes in there. Maybe
76. My sneakers hang out in there for some reason. And so again, so we look at that whole layout. We can even take a picture or something of our Mickey bathroom, or just lay it all out on a piece of paper.
Oh, there's one on the Changing Perspectives Instagram page.
Oh, there is.
On
yes.
the 10 was it the 10 tips for managing anxiety. I think the first picture was, what was it? I don't know. I forget. It was clearly very, very relatable.
Yeah.
But I took a picture of our Mickey bathroom and the laundry basket that was awful.
So yeah, I mean, you look at that and okay, we're identifying that the second drying rack.
That's what it was. Don't beat yourself up over that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We identify right now that the second drying rack is waste. My running shoes are waste.
I don't think they're waste.
But we just waste. That's not whatever element. I just hit the mic stand. I'm sorry. not waste in the true definition of waste, but it's the term that the quality tool uses to identify something in the process that's not working. The process, quote unquote, being our bathroom.
Okay.
Our
Keeping
second,
our
our
bathroom orderly.
Right.
Okay.
And so what's not working is that second drying rack.
Well, it's both of them.
Both of them.
Okay.
The placement of them, the shoes. I don't know what else is not working, but this is the idea that you go through and pick
Okay.
specifically. So, because you're a big picture person, I think.
I am actually, and
Yeah.
I'm finding this really helpful because
not.
I'm big picture. I just want the Mickey bathroom to be flippin'
Yeah.
clean all the time. Why is that so hard?
Did you
And-
just swear?
I said flippin'.
Okay. Come
We're
on,
clean. We're rated clean.
we're clean.
I said flippin'.
Okay.
Can I not say that?
It was scary.
Oh, sorry.
I took a sip of my drink, and I missed it. I think I was swallowing. It sounded like you said the F word.
This is now called a party seltzer.
What?
I won't out my friend, but my friend asked their child to get a seltzer out of the fridge for them.
Yeah.
And they were talking about a regular seltzer water. And the child said, "Which kind, Mommy? A regular seltzer or a party seltzer?"
That's great.
I'm drinking a White Claw.
Nice. I'm drinking a Bud Light with Pat the Patriot, the Flying Elvis on it.
Nope.
Because
I
it's
just
almost
see
kickoff.
Surgeon General's
Oh,
warning.
no, look.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's almost kickoff.
It's past kickoff.
No, it's not.
What time
it
is
is.
it?
Yeah, it's past kickoff.
Yeah,
We have to
that
be
clock
done
up there
soon.
is right. So you're right. I am big picture,
Big
because I
picture.
think I want it to be this way. I can keep it this way.
Yeah.
Why can't the three of you jamokes just get it that way?
And I'm not big picture. I need to know exactly what needs to change.
So this
how
is
we're gonna
helpful.
change
Okay,
it.
so
Yeah.
Kaizening this one problem, all right, I'm understanding now.
And
we have to sort of look
conforming-
at it into the littler pieces. What's not working? What are the actual problems to that? And then we can kind of zoom out and figure out.
Right. And
Okay.
your your idea of Kaizen in and of itself is big picture, and mine's not. Remember
Yes.
from the beginning, that's why
Yes,
we were
okay.
struggling a little
Yeah.
bit. But I think that will be super helpful, and you can conform these types of different quality tools or what people use to have a Kaizen event. It doesn't have to be from Lean Six Sigma; it can be whatever. You can apply those things to your relationship, and there's actually a few articles out there, everybody, on applying Kaizen to your personal life, like your individual personal
Yeah.
improvement. You should just Google that. There's all kinds of articles out there for that.
Huh, you've given me a lot to think about in terms of
Yeah.
the fact that I'm a big picture person. So I talk a lot with clients about black and white people. I don't mean the way
What?
that it just sounded. I don't mean that. I mean people that like have
confused.
a view of the world as being black and white.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
very black and white thinking, like all or nothing thinking. I'm good or I'm bad. I have friends or I don't. I'm fat or I'm skinny. I'm healthy or I'm not. Like
Yeah.
that black and white thinking.
Yeah.
A lot of people
What's that?
have that.
Isn't that? Was it
Like from the CBT,
Yeah,
or you go into
CBT.
cognitive behavioral therapy.
I
Yeah,
forget
and
what
I
it's
talk a lot about kind of living in the gray, helping
Yeah.
people kind of understand how to live in the gray, and I struggle with that myself. But I'm also now thinking, okay, there's probably this piece about being a big picture thinker versus a sort of detail
Yeah.
thinker, a detail oriented thinker, and I can see now that our different perspectives on that cause problems in our relationship because like just getting out of the house in the morning to go to football today, big picture. I know exactly how I want things to look when I'm getting out of the house. I want
Right.
the dining room chairs pushed in. I want the dishes washed. I want the beds made. I want the floor swept. I want the house clean so
Right.
that it looks clean when I walk in. But the three of you aren't big picture thinkers. I don't think any of you are.
No.
No, you're all...
The boys are just. I mean, developmentally, they're just whatever's right in front of them.
Yeah,
Right.
they're
But
brain
for
dead.
me,
Yeah.
I'm very I'm specific with the things I need to get done.
Which are the
Yeah.
things you want to get done.
Right.
Yes. And I'm big picture. Like these are the things that as a family we need to get done. So
Well,
okay.
even the topic of the example we used about our second bathroom, our
Uh-huh.
Mickey bathroom, and you were like, I just want it clean and organized.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah.
And
All right.
that
So we
means
have to have
whatever.
a conversation about
Yeah.
that. We have to have a
This is good, though.
Kaizen. So, okay. All right. So I guess this is interesting. I guess there's no real kind of conclusion to this topic other than to consider introducing it to your own relationship and to your own self in terms of continuous change, continuous improvement, being able and willing to say, stop, let's explore this and figure out what's not working rather than just kind of complaining about it.
Right.
I think you could apply that to friendships too.
Yes.
You know, rather than kind of letting things kind of fester and bubble over and brew, you could say, hey, something's going on. Let's talk about it and figure it out.
Absolutely.
So, I wanted to just explore the Kaizen notion, the Kaizen way, and see how we could apply it to relationships. Do you feel like we did that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that just by listening to the Changing Perspectives podcast, that's a little Kaizen, especially when you are thinking about your relationship and improving your relationship, but also just being reflective.
Right.
You know. So real quick, we can shout out do you have anything else?
No, I hear our teenager playing. I think he's playing Billy Joel right now in the background. I'm wondering if you can pick it up.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
And then I think you're not supposed to because isn't that copyright
Oh, yeah.
music?
Never mind.
So if you hear it, don't hear it.
Don't.
But it's really good.
Pretend you don't hear it. All right. So that New York Times article is entitled "The Surprising Benefits of Relentlessly Auditing Your Life." We tend to think that good marriages and happy families are born of love and care, not spreadsheets. But what if that's wrong? The article was written by author Amy Westervelt.
Not Rachel.
No, not Rachel. And Amy is a journalist and podcaster. We will put
Not Rachel?
we will put that link in the show notes as well as all the other things we mentioned. In particular was kanbanshi.com/whatisKaizen to give you an idea about what Kaizen is. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Do you have anything else for us, Jenny?
Nope.
All right, everybody. That is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Please follow us on Facebook at Changing Perspectives Podcast and on Instagram at Changing Perspectives Blog. Don't forget, you can get merchandise now at JenniBrennan.com for the Changing Perspective podcast. Check that out. You can check out our website, again, by going to ChangingPerspectivesBlog.com or send us an email to changingpodcast@gmail.com. Go ahead and subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode, and we will see you next time. Say bye, Jenny.
Bye, Jenny.
The Changing Perspectives podcast is produced, recorded, and edited by Dizzy Bird Studios. Please visit Dizzy Bird Studios on Facebook, facebook.com/DizzyBirdStudios.